Well, the climate in Europe is not good. Confidence and CPI, PPI, and the sale of vehicles and the sale of things have gotten a little bit better, but unfortunately, I think it's only temporary. And if I'm right, that's not going to be good for Europe. I think one of the most important things that happened over the last couple of days in Europe is that the European Central Bank, they brought their interest rates down from 1.25% to 1%. But more importantly, they decided that they were going to spend $80 billion buying toxic junk in the markets, which is bonds, which are inside of them there are mortgages and other kinds of debt, and they're wasting assets, is what they are. And they're going to spend $80 billion. And the Germans, the Bundesbank, was very upset about it. And I think things like this, coupled with the fact that Germany is more solvent than the other countries, they make up probably 40% of the Eurozone. They keep on, and have for years, supplied the Eurozone with a positive balance of trade, which has allowed the other members to function better. I think from the polls I've seen, more than 70% of Germans want the Deutschmark back. And so an event like this, when the ECB essentially unilaterally decided that they were going to start doing what the U.S., England, and Switzerland have been doing, and that is buying toxic junk, I think it could lead up to the breakup of the euro.
What would replace the euro?
All the currencies they had before.
They would
the
all
lira.
Go back to their original currencies.
Yeah, the French franc.
This kind of holds true with some information that I got from a Marine there in France, where the military that he associates with, the military guard that at a specific location where the French francs are minted or printed, says that they have gone to a 24/7 security system over there, because they're running the presses 24/7, making the old French franc under the new with a new picture to be released as a sovereign paper money. To me, that tells me that the French are taking their own steps forward already. What does that say to you?
Well, gee, if the story is true, and I believe it probably is, then it portends the end of the Eurozone. And, the very heart of the Eurozone is commercial with a currency. As a matter of fact, they do not have a constitution, and the only thing that binds them really is that currency.
Tell Mr. Chapman that here in Italy, the Italians prefer the Italian lira over the euro, and will actually give you a better price on merchandise when you buy with the Italian lira at restaurants, specifically where I go out to eat.
Well, I wasn't even aware that the lira was still accepted.
Well, I don't know where he gets his, but he's using it. The current
That's
economic
surprising.
The current economic crisis will be a lot harder than the financial collapse of 1988, as stated by the World Bank. What do you feel that Russia will have to do with this severe problem that is going to kind of like defecate them?
Well, I don't know that Russia's going to get devastated. I mean, they have oil and gas, so they don't have to go someplace else and buy it. Granted, their economy is not as strong as they would like it, but it's not all that bad. the ruble has been under pressure, but so has in every other currency. And they have been accumulating foreign reserves. They've got, well, I don't know what the figure is. I just published it this morning, and I can't remember it, but it was up to about 600 billion. I think it's back down around 400 used to defend the ruble. They were using foreign currencies to do that. And but I don't, you know, it's going to hurt everybody, but Russia's going to be no worse off than anybody else.
We have a caller here. We'll just see what we can do. Caller, you're online. Tell us who you are and have your question ready, please.
This is your Tuesday and Thursday second hour host.
Hello, Al. Come on in here. You got a question?
Well, first of all, I agree with Bob. If we don't get rid of the Federal Reserve, we're wasting our time. Am I correct, Bob?
Absolutely.
They have to go. They have to go.
I mean, that's the key. This is the key to the control of the Illuminati. This is the key. And that's, you know, I was stunned when Ron Paul got 149 sponsors, and before this is over, he'll probably get more, and he probably only needs 232 or 235 votes or something like that.
Well,
and so this is
435, 217, 218, 220 should do it.
220.
Yeah,
well,
that's more than half.
If he could get 200 signatures, he'd scare the whatchamacallit out of the Illuminists. I'll tell you that.
They
and of
still
course,
have to
they'd be
vote
running
on it,
around
though.
with these. What's that?
They still have to vote on it, and the Senate does too.
Well, that's why I said earlier in the program, people should contact everybody in Congress and tell them they want to take it out of committee and brought up for a vote. And if the
Absolutely.
House passes it, well, then we'll deal with the Senate.
That's right. Although I think it has a less chance of passing in the Senate because of the so-called makeup of the Senate.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, everybody's on the take practically.
Yeah, well, they're all bought and paid for, compromised. But the amazing story today is that GM and Chrysler are closing nearly 3,000 dealers, 3,000 of them almost. That doesn't portend well for the economy of the country, not to mention jobs lost.
Well, you're absolutely right.
And what does that do to socialist insecurity, Bob, when all that money isn't coming in? You think they may have a little problem there with socialist insecurity?
Well, it may force them to try to pass legislation to roll everybody's retirement into Social Security. And I'll tell you, a bill like that, the minute it came out of committee, I would immediately tell all my subscribers and everybody on the radio to withdraw from your retirement, and if you can't without quitting your job, quit your job if you have a substantial amount in there. And I talk to a lot of people who have $300,000 to $2 million in those retirement plans.
Well, they need to get their money out while the getting is good before the government seizes it. That's what Obama wants to do, doesn't he?
Yeah, not only that, you know, this is going to affect cash value life insurance policies as well as annuities.
That's right. Everything.
And, you know,
is
people just, they don't take that intellectual step forward to see what the future would be. And that's what we do at the International Forecaster. And we help everybody who emails us. We just, go back and email them back. Or I ask for their phone number and I call them. And we've helped thousands of people, whether they're subscribers or not.
Well, I see Social Security going under in the next 5 years or less, Bob. There's no way they're going to make it out to 2027 or whatever stupid number they've talked about. There's no money in there. It's broke. They're printing toilet paper.
What's going to happen to Al? What's going to happen to my $1,600 a month that I get?
I guess you'll have to go in the basement if you got one and start printing your own pesos or whatever you use down there, Bob. What can I say?
What? Well, maybe I can get a job. Do you think I'm too old for the Marine Corps?
No, I think, Bob, you're too old to have gray hair. Too young to have gray hair. Okay?